My parents want my wedding to be a party for my golden child sister. I'm planning to elope because my parents are trying to make me agree to letting my sister's boyfriend propose to my sister at my wedding. My baby sister is the golden child. Or maybe that's unfair to say. She survived cancer when she was a child. It was the darkest period of my parents' life. I don't remember much of it because my parents shielded me from the horrific truth. I knew she was sick and I remember all my childhood spent in hospitals, but never did I know that my sister almost died until many years later. I was 12 and she was 10. After she beat her sickness, she became the obvious favorite in the house. She got everything she wanted and sometimes it was at my expense. I resented that, but I always heard that I was a naughty girl for being jealous of my hero sister. My sister grew up to be a brat. Now 20 years later she's still bratty, although we get along a lot better than when we were teenagers/young adults. My wedding is in July. Neither my fiancé nor I have the money for a big wedding. We settled for small wedding, 30 people, at my fiancé's grandparents who have a beautiful house with lake view. My parents, when they heard this, said no way and offered to pay for a bigger wedding and better venue. We didn't agree at first, but later we did not want to disappoint them. It seemed like it was important to them. Last week my mom invited me over. My dad, mom and my sister's boyfriend asked me what I would think if my sister's boyfriend proposed to my sisters during the wedding, so it becomes an engagement party as well as a wedding. Mom has seen reels on Instagram about people proposing to maid of honor/bridesmaids and thought it cute. My sister is my maid of honor. I said no, that's ridiculous, and laughed. My mom was livid. She told me I was selfish and ungrateful and I accused her of favoritism. I told her I always thought it was odd that you'd pay for my wedding, but now I know the reason why. She started crying and kicked me out of the house. Later both she and my future brother-in-law sent me texts warning me from exposing their plan to my sister. My fiancé was disappointed but not sure what we could do. My parents have spent almost $30,000 and it's too late to cancel. My mother called me today to plan the proposal and I begged her not to ruin my day. She told me since she was paying she can make requests and that I should let go of my jealousy and resentment towards my sister because she's innocent in all of this. But the thing is, this day will be about my sister. I told my fiancé to ask his grandparents if they're still willing to host my wedding. If they're, I'll revert to our original plan. If not, I will just elope. Not sure yet if I'm going to tell my family and cancel the wedding or just let them have their grand proposal party. None of my family is invited to my wedding, including my sister.
I smacked a spoiled brat because she ruined my sick nephew's life. Am I the jerk for smashing a little girl's face in cake? Yesterday we had a delayed birthday party for my nephew, 8, as he had his appendix removed during his birthday. The last 2 years it was immediate family only. This year we went all out. We got the bouncy castle, a chocolate fountain, booked tickets for go-karts for next weekend, a big cake with different marzipan roses and plant leaves molded in chocolate from different trees. He is very interested in botany and insects. The cupcakes also had different flowers, leaves and insects on them. This cost my sister a lot as they were painstakingly made due to the details. My brother-in-law's friend is married to a woman that is a bit special. They have a 10-year-old daughter, Megan, together known as their rainbow baby as she was born after 2 IVF rounds, 4 miscarriages and 1 stillbirth. She will gladly tell everyone about her health, journey to conception and miracle baby even if you try to shut her up. She wore a cream-colored dress at my sister's wedding, upstaged another friend of hers proposal by announcing her pregnancy. When her own sister-in-law graduated she faked being ill as she has only gone as far as college and not beyond and couldn't take the attention her sister-in-law was getting. She fakes feigning spells when she doesn't get the attention she needs. Her daughter does the same. She will fake a seizure when the conversation topic moves on from her etc. At the party I was in charge of food and I set up the cakes, cupcakes and other refreshments in the front room as there would be lots of children running around and we didn't want grubby hands all over them before my nephew blew out the candles. Megan kept disturbing me going in and out of the room and her mother egged her on. She asked if she could take pictures of Megan eating a cupcake and then they would join the others in the garden. I said no and locked the door after I had set everything up and put the key in my bag. After about an hour or so of games people started to move towards the table area and my sister asked me to go get the candles and cake ready. Megan ran ahead of me and as I entered the hallway she unlocked the door, which to me was a surprise as the key should have been in my bag. Her mother was almost shoulder to shoulder with me when Megan dipped her nose and cheeks in the cake and had this deranged trying to be cute smile on her face. She picked one of the flowers of the cake and ate it. Her mother cheered her on and took a picture before I could react, saying that the first pick of the flowers was hers anyway for being special. A few more people were in the hallway at this point, including my nephew and sister. He didn't look happy. I don't know what came over me, but I walked up to Megan and smashed her head into the cake. The aftermath was not pretty. Her mother started screeching, which brought more people into the small hallway and the front room. Megan started crying and her father threatened to do some not so nice things to me before my brother-in-law managed to interfere. He had to literally drag him out of the house. Some people in the crowd laughed, others stayed quiet. Then those who missed it asked questions and I explained what happened. Megan and her mother, who were still in the room, tried to justify their actions, even saying that I was the one that ruined the cake. Others sided with me that nobody wanted to eat a cake with Megan Boggers. In the end they left. My sister has cancelled Megan and her family's go-kart tickets. She also billed Megan's mother for the cake. Megan's mother forwarded the bill to me via a WhatsApp message and I refused to pay for it. She said what her daughter did was fixable, but how I reacted was not. She also billed me for Megan's dress dry cleaning. I have no intention of paying that either. There has been quite a commotion on Facebook and WhatsApp groups as my sister is threatening with small claims court. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that the loss of her baby was God's will, just like she told me? Here we go, I really need to get this off my chest. My name is Liz, I'm 26 years old. I've been openly lesbian since I was 15. I have an older sister named Kim, who is 29. I'm married to Kelly, 28, who is simply the most amazing woman I've ever met. Both of us really wanted to have children, and Kelly really wished to experience childbirth. So, we decided to find a sperm donor and Kelly became pregnant. The whole family was incredibly happy with the news and congratulated us on the new baby. Now, Kim has always been my support. She went with me to LGBT parades, stood up to anyone who judged me or my wife, and was the maid of honor at my wedding. But recently, she started a relationship with a guy named Simon. He's an extremely conservative Christian and clearly got into my sister's head. The two of them made uncomfortable jokes throughout the pregnancy, implying that Kelly had turned straight and had cheated on me with a man to have a real family. Needless to say, these comments hurt us deeply, even more coming from my sister. They got engaged and got married in the meantime. I was the maid of honor, but Kim didn't want Kelly to attend and only allowed her to go because our parents and siblings threatened not to go if she didn't. When Kelly was 7 months pregnant, she had a car accident that resulted in the loss of the baby and nearly took her life. Saying that we were devastated is an understatement. She and I sank into depression, and Kelly even came close to overdosing on medication. She barely survived. My family was our anchor. My older brother, John, 32, moved to my house to help us, me and my wife, during this difficult time. But you know what Kim and her husband did? Simon had the audacity to say that losing the baby was a blessing for the child, because then she wouldn't have been born into a dysfunctional family and wouldn't be raised by a couple driven by lust instead of the true love God had planned. And Kim? Well, she defended him and even added that it really was God's will that the child wouldn't be born without a father. I was extremely furious and cut contact with him. A few days ago, I learned that Kim had caught Simon in bed with another woman, apparently her best friend. He admitted to the affair and fled to another city to live with his lover. During this mess, Kim was pregnant, but the stress led her to miscarry. The most astonishing thing is that she didn't even know about the pregnancy until the tragedy happened. When she called me crying and shared the news, I coldly replied that it really was God's will for the child not to be born without a father. Now, our family is divided. Some believe Kim got what she deserved, while others think I overreacted and that she's going through a difficult time. So I want the opinion of you internet strangers. Am I the a-hole? I brought up my brother's premature birth at Christmas dinner to get my parents to shut up? I am a nurse practitioner and I am the primary care provider for a lot of the low-risk maternity cases at the practice where I work. I also work hand in hand with the doctors and midwives to create a healthy maternity, birth, and postpartum situation. My fiancée is completing her residency. We live together and have for a few years now. We aren't in any hurry to get married. We originally had plans to do so a couple of years ago, but then we got really busy for 2 years. It is driving my very religious parents crazy that their youngest son is living in sin. I don't really care. I'm an adult and I do what I want. We are getting married in June. So we are visiting my parents for Christmas. The way it came together this year, everyone is at my parents' house. So that's my folks, my 3 siblings, myself and fiancé, and 7 grandchildren. So 17 people. At dinner my mom starts going on about how she is so glad that we are finally getting married and she won't be embarrassed at church anymore. And my dad says how proud he is of his 3 older kids who all either waited to get married before moving in together or got married right away after moving in together. My fiancé was getting embarrassed and I was getting mad over this stupid argument we have had too many times. And a family dinner was the last straw. I have asked them repeatedly to just accept that they cannot control how I live my life. I refuse to stay with them when I visit, even if I come alone. Hotels are just easier. So I started talking about a premature baby I'd been reading about. It was almost 3 months premature and weighed about 1.6 pounds. It was super strong and healthy for being born so little and the NICU had high hopes for the baby doing well. My mom and dad both got deer in the headlights looks on their faces. Too bad. Should not have F around with my fiancé's feelings. So I asked about my oldest brother. He was born almost 4 months premature. Is there a chance that we could check out the family album where we keep all the records of family births and stuff? I already know my brother was over 9 pounds and almost 23 inches long when he was born. My grandmother told me all about it the first time my parents tried to shame me. The subject gets changed very fast. After supper my parents told me that I should not try to embarrass them with private things that are not my concern. I told them that if I heard anything about my living arrangements ever again for the rest of my life I would make sure to keep bringing up the fact that my mom was in her 2nd trimester when they got married. My parents are mad at me for telling them how to behave in their own home. But my fiancé is happy that they seem to be off the subject for good.
My boyfriend doesn't want me because I was for the streets as a kid. We have been dating for a little over 6 years and recently went up to my parents last weekend, and we met in college for more details. While there, we went through some old photo books with my parents, but when we got back home, my boyfriend said he wanted to talk. He said he was bothered by the old photos of me doing aerial silks when I was in my teens and said that it came off as inappropriate, and this was the first time he ever commented on something I wore/used to wear. He also said he was disappointed in my parents for having no issue with it either. But, when I asked why he was bothered when it was so long ago, he said that his mom, who's very religious, he's an atheist, never let his sister wear anything not down to her knees, and that he was concerned I might put our potential children in pole dancing because silks were close to it, and I told him I disagreed. When I said that, though, he said that that was the problem and that he wanted a break, and he's been staying with his brother for the past 2 days without calling me at all. I think it's immature, and I told him before he left that I just wanted to talk like adults about whatever's behind this, but he said he wasn't interested until he talked to his brother, and I just want to ask what I should do from here. I'm reconsidering a lot myself, too, but I'm hurt that he wants to confide in him. Before me I was fine before the trip, but after seeing the old albums, he has an issue with me. He said he was having second thoughts about me as a mom because I might put our potential daughter in pole because it's similar to Silk's. When he was looking at the photo book, he kept saying how his mom would never let his sister wear anything that doesn't go down to the knees and that I looked like a stripped at 16, which really hurt.